I'm calling you back.
Oh, great. Awesome. So what did you find out?
Well, of the many different translations that there are of the Christian Greek scriptures, just one that I just now got on my computer to look, and I've got one here. Let's see, 38. And it states here, 2001 translation, an American English Bible, edited by Jim Wheeler, USA, 2001. And here's the quote. Are you ready?
Sure.
This translation uses Jehovah in the main text of various verses, both in the Hebrew scriptures and in the Christian Greek scriptures. The explanatory note, Jehovah, or the Tetragrammaton, includes the following statement. Oh, my cat just went across my keyboard. Just a minute. I got Okay. Yeah. Okay. The explanatory note, Jehovah, or the Tetragrammaton, includes the following statement under the heading Jehovah in the New Testament. And this is his quote. He said, "We are Bible translators, in parentheses, not teachers. So our conclusions on the use of Jehovah's name are based strictly on our research, not on a desire to take a religious position. This Bible is one that uses God's name in the Christian era scriptures." So that's one.
Well, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about the existing Greek manuscripts in Koine Greek, not a translation. I mean, I don't care. I mean, he does it too, like Jehovah's Witnesses do. I don't know what his rationale would be. I never heard of that translation. It's not commonly accepted. But anyway, that's not what we were talking about. You said that the Tetragrammaton is in existing Greek manuscripts, from which all Bibles must be translated.
Now, that's true. That's true. But in reality, they're not. In reality, what's happened is over the years, why do you think the name Jehovah was taken out in the first place?
Okay, well, I remember what we were talking about, and that's what I asked that you were going to call me about, that you claim there was the Tetragrammaton in existing Greek manuscript.
I'm trying to get to that point. But
okay.
I have to,
do you have any links to them where I can see them?
Give you some background first, okay? Well, let me explain something first to you, okay? What's the reason the name was taken out of the scriptures?
No one believes it was. No one believes the Tetragrammaton was in the New Testament. There's no, because all we have is Greek manuscripts.
The question I'm asking you is, if you look in many translations of the Bible today, the name Jehovah appears if once or 3 times in the Hebrew scriptures. However, the Tetragrammaton itself, when they found those, especially when they found those Dead Sea Scrolls, they found that the Tetragrammaton was in many, many different places in those Hebrew scriptures.
Right. Mm-hmm.
However, it was not in the translations.
Yeah, it's signified, and it explains that in most of the.
Why not just put the name there?
Well, because translators probably don't want to use the made-up English word Jehovah.
Oh, I see. So.
Because that's made up. It's actually Byington calls it a blunder, and it's actually they're really just guessing at it. And now they say Yahweh is more accurate anyway. So I'm thinking that's why, because they don't want to be presumptuous that they know what the letters are. No one does, and so they signify. That's a signification. And they explain that, and serious Christians know that. So if you want to put Jehovah where it says capital Lord, that's great. Some translations do in the Hebrew, Hebrew scriptures only.
Yeah. So why would you accept a person just calling you a person or a female instead of using your name?
I said that it signifies the Tetragrammaton, and serious Christians know that and love it and don't have any problem with it. And if you want to say Jehovah, we even sing songs that use the word Jehovah. We
Well,
don't.
why don't you direct your worship and your praise to Him directly? Why not, in Jesus' name? You see, Jesus told us not to worship Him. We're not to worship Jesus. We're not to worship any. We are supposed to listen to Him because He's our King.
Yeah.
But we're not to worship Him because
Yeah.
Jesus worshiped His God and our God. Remember what He told Mary?
Yes, because when He became human, He took on flesh and lived the perfect life, which include praying to the Father. You know, it's because the New World Translation changed all the words worship to obeisance only where they pertain to Jesus, and then the other ones they left. Jesus is worshipped in heaven in Revelation chapter 5, and He's worshipped He's worshipped in many places in the New Testament that you don't really see that because they changed the wording. That's why they had to have their own Bible. When they stopped teaching it was proper to worship Jesus in the 1950s.
Oh, that's not when they stopped that.
When did they stop?
No, they right from the very beginning they recognized that it was Jehovah who's the God and Father and the Creator Himself. It's only through His Son Jesus that He created everything. But the point being is that in the beginning, when you think of when it talks about the Scripture in Genesis where it says, "Let us create man in our image and likeness," He was talking to someone, wasn't He?
Yes, the Son.
And you can find out, okay.
And the Spirit was in that chapter also. And then it says later, it says.
Let me finish. So you can go to the book of Proverbs in chapter 8, and you can see where even there, where Jesus is considered as wisdom, many different religions recognize that this is representing Jesus as being wisdom. He said He was with His Father in the beginning before anything. So therefore, on that basis, yes, He did come to earth. Okay, but He was not a spirit man. He was a man. He was not a man God or a God man. He was strictly a man because it's the only way that Jesus, or the only way that the loss of Adam as a perfect man could be paid back was through a perfect man. And Jesus was the only perfect man, not a God man or a spirit man or anything like that. He was a man like you and I, only He was perfect. On that basis alone, the only way that we can approach Jehovah is accepting that Jesus is the only way that we have to be able to have a friendship, just as Abraham did with the Father. So, on that basis, what you're thinking about is, yes, it's true. They've taken the name out. Yes, they have represented or made they've used different terms. But just as the Bible says, and just as Jesus told us at chapter 6 of verse 10 in Matthew, He said, for us, when you pray, pray this way. Our Father in the heavens, sacred be thy name. Thy name.
Okay, 2 points here.
I can't remember where it was, but
2
He
points.
said, Father, I have made your name known to them. What name did He make known?
Do you believe that the Jews thought that word name always meant a series of letters?
What? I don't understand your question.
You're trying to say that Jesus was saying to make the word Jehovah known, or the Tetragrammaton. If He was so intent on that, why did He say our Father instead of dear Jehovah? He does not teach anyone to use the word Jehovah or Tetragrammaton in the whole New Testament. Now, if you go, could I finish? I have 2 questions about that. That's my first one.
I want to answer what you already asked me.
Yeah.
Okay, why did Jesus say Father?
Yeah, instead of Jehovah.
Who was He speaking to?
Why didn't He say Jehovah if He's trying to emphasize the divine name and in a model prayer?
No,
but you guys always say dear Jehovah.
Let me explain. Remember, Christine, who He was talking to.
Right, the Father.
He was talking to Jews. He was talking to Jewish people who knew the name of God. He was talking to individuals who used that name. They knew that Jehovah was the Father. There was no reason at all for Him to have to say, pray to Jehovah.
Okay.
Or let Jehovah's name be sanctified. Okay. It's only obvious. Okay.
Do you know that when He said, "Let your name be sanctified," that refers to? I found 2 passages in the Old Testament, because it's important to understand what Jesus is talking about by the Old Testament background. And so maybe you could look those up sometime. And he was not talking about a series of letters. He was talking about the advent of the Messianic era and the New Covenant. These two passages, let your name be magnified or known or sanctified, means God would become known throughout the whole world instead
how
of
will he be
just
known?
Jews. It's not talking about a series of letters whatsoever. So look up the cross references.
Go back to what you just said. You said that the whole world would know. Okay,
Mhm.
What does it say in the book of Ezekiel? In the book of Ezekiel, it says, "And they will have to know that I am who."
He's not talking about a series of letters, and that's not the passage I'm talking about.
No. Wait a minute now. We're talking about God's name. We're not talking about a series of letters.
Do you know?
Those four letters are a representation. No one knows what the consonants were in those. No one knows the proper way to pronounce that name. However, what I'm saying to you is that the most common name used today is either Yahweh or Jehovah, either one of the two. And because of that fact, that's how we know God's name. No one's going to dispute that fact. No one's going to dispute that fact. Here's the point. The point is that we need to use that name. Why would he have that name in a tetragrammaton in all of those Hebrew scriptures over 7,000 times and not have people use the name? Why would that be when he had the names of false gods still in the Bible?
Do you
there
know?
Are false gods. Wait. Think about it. Think about it. Don't go by what some people are telling you. Think about it in your mind. Think about you yourself. Would you want people not to recognize your personal name? You have a personal name. How about if I just called you back and I said, "Hey, lady, I talked to you earlier."
Do you know that there's other divine name groups who claim they're the truth because they say Yeshua, Jehovah, Jesus, Yahweh, permutations of that. That's the only reason that the Watchtower made up this stuff. Only we know the name. We know the name. We know about the word Jehovah.
No. That's not
You're
the reason
reducing. You're reducing.
No, we're not doing that.
Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they
do. Do you know the reason? Oh, how do you know that?
I've read a lot of the publications.
And you're still not convinced?
They make no. I'm fine with saying Jehovah. You know,
Are you not convinced that there is only one true God and that he has a son named Jesus Christ?
Let's just get back to my question, which you didn't answer yet, about Greek manuscripts that have the tetragrammaton.
Go to Deuteronomy chapter.
That's not a Greek manuscript. You said you were going to call back on that question.
Let me finish.
I want to talk about the question I asked. And you said you were going to.
I'm giving you the answer.
That's not a Greek manuscript.
That's not what I'm getting at.
Okay.
I'm getting to the point. Please let me get to the point.
That's all I was asking about.
Let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. All right, at Deuteronomy 18:15, what does it say there?
I said I want to get back to what Greek manuscript.
Well, look at Acts chapter 3:22.
And the reason I'm asking that is because you
look in the Greek scriptures at Acts 3:22.
The reason I'm getting back to that is because you claimed that there are Greek manuscripts with the tetragrammaton.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you that right now.
It's not a Greek manuscript. It's a translation, an English translation. I'm assuming. So.
Acts 3:22. Read
that. Can you show me one? I don't think there is one.
Wait a minute. You're not looking at Acts 3:22, are you?
Are you reading Greek? Are you reading from a Greek manuscript?
No. I'm reading from the Bible.
Okay,
look in the Bible. Look in the Bible.
You told me the wrong answer. You said there is Greek manuscripts with the tetragrammaton. So I hope that you'll realize that there isn't.
Okay, well there are. Let me get that point. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Okay.
I was going to try and show you out of the Bible. I just had it here earlier. The emphatic diaglot of Benjamin Wilson. The Epistle of Paul in Modern English by George Baker.
Those are translations.
No, but they're taken from.
Mm-hmm.
They're taken from the texts of manuscripts that have been found.
I'd need to know like what their number is and everything.
Well,
There's
you're
no
gonna have
there's
gonna
no
have to you're gonna
tetragrammatons.
have to
There's
you're gonna have to
none.
do Christina. You're gonna
Mhm.
have to look that research up because if you really want to know,
Mhm.
if you really want to
How
know,
about if you want to
then
know?
you'll do the research.
How about
I know because I've done this
those
research. I've
those
known
aren't
about this.
then you're the only
And,
person on the planet that believes that because really currently there aren't any. And you might be confused because when the Watchtower talks about it, I noticed they show these ancient pictures of the LXX, the Septuagint. And I think a lot of witnesses get it in their mind that that's a New Testament manuscript. They do that on purpose, I believe. There really aren't any. They admit that in the Divine Name book.
well, I think we've ended the conversation
Yeah.
for the simple reason that you're dead set on proving wrong that the creator of the entire universe has a name that we should use, and that he wants us to use that name, even though we are imperfect and we may not be pronouncing it the correct way. He still wants it used. That is something that we need to do. That's something that Jesus told us to do. Remember when Jesus came out of the water after being baptized, he said, "This is my son. Listen to him." Jesus told us to use that name, Jehovah. When Jesus prayed in chapter 17, he prayed to his Father in the heavens. He said, "I have made your name known." Not Father, Jehovah, or
Yeah.
Yahweh,
In
or
the
YH,
Jewish
or
way of
YHWH,
speaking,
every one of those three.
a lot
But
of times
wait a minute,
name
the
just
point,
means that
here's the point.
name just
Here's the,
means that person in the
well,
Jewish
that's
way of
right.
thinking.
That means that person.
Jesus,
So
there's no
what
record
person?
of Jesus even talking about you better say Jehovah. He corrected the Jews for everything that they were doing wrong. The Pharisees, he spoke out about all the crucial things, which was actually really more about their arrogant attitudes,
What did I just tell you?
not a series of letters.
Oh, what did I
But
just tell you?
okay, so
Didn't he just say when I told you in chapter 17, he said, "I have made your
yes,
name
who
known."
he
Who did he
has
make
made
it
known
known
who
to?
God is because he is the image of the invisible God. It means God himself. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. That's how he
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
God known.
So
And
when you look
name
at
was
so when
often
you
used to refer to a person, not a series of letters, because it's
oh yeah.
obvious that he did not talk about correcting them on you better say Jehovah or Yahweh or whatever it was or YHWH. So anyways, well thank you for trying to find the Greek manuscripts. I hope maybe you learned something. I know you guys don't like to learn things from anyone else, but
No,
you know.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Okay, God bless you. Thanks for calling back.
Okay,
Okay.
if you want to continue on any other point, remember that John 3:16. Why did God allow His Son to die for us?
Yeah, I said that will be fine. You know, I just wanted to stick to the one point. Now, if you want to
Yeah,
talk
the point
more,
here.
now,
The point. No, here's the point.
yeah,
The
he
point
didn't.
is
He
this.
if
The
you
point.
if
No. Here's the real point of the whole thing, Christina. All of this other stuff, all the gobbledygook, let's put it aside for now. The point being is that there's only one true God. His name is Jehovah, according to not only what Jehovah's Witnesses say, but according to what the Hebrew Scriptures say. They knew him by the name Jehovah. He is the one true God. They worship the one true God. Jesus, when he was on the earth as a man perfect, he worshiped the one true God, Jehovah, or Yahweh, whichever you choose. Therefore, it is only proper, right, and correct that we, even imperfect, even though we don't know how to pronounce his name perfectly, we too should use that name as Jesus told us we should. And it's also, that's what Jehovah wants us to do. Jehovah is my name, there is no other. Look at what he told Moses. It's Jehovah. Christina Malinowski, please pay attention to what I just told you and look closer. Don't be turned aside from a translation. It's not the translation that's important. It's the desire in your heart to serve the one true God. And who is he? Jehovah. Whether you accept it or not, that's fine, it's up to you. But the Jehovah is John 6:44 tells us that Jehovah draws. Okay? Jesus told us.
There's no word Jehovah in John 6:44.
No, there's not. But
Okay,
there is
so
what Jesus said.
you're sure hung
Jesus
up on that. You're almost like superstitious about it. How you just
No,
repeated
no.
it.
No,
You
it's
just
not a superstition.
could
It's
I?
not a superstition.
You could
It's a
talk for
belief.
like 10
Now,
minutes straight.
At John 6:44.
Okay. You're
At John
just.
6.
I gotta
John
go because you
6:44.
just talk over all the time, and you gave me like a 10-minute discourse on the memorial, and I didn't say anything, and you are very interruptive, and you're just talking over me this whole time.
Well, because
you know.
I don't want you to go too far before I want to address the question or the statement that you gave.
Well, you couldn't answer the question couldn't answer the question we talked about. And if you ever want to talk about anything again, I would like to help you understand that the organization taught to worship the Father and the Son until the 1950s, and I'll give you all the references, okay? So maybe they were in idolatry because that's what they call it now. So anyways, hey, thanks for talking.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. God bless.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.